Shalom. I will give all honor and glory and praises to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, Kadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone for teaching me this truth and sincerity. Salutation to the hopeful light that spread out the four corners of the earth. All right, so the title of this lesson will be the title of this lesson will be the second Exodus and Great Tribulation all at once. All right, so the second Exodus and Great Tribulation all at once, right? We're coming in a time, where it's gonna be all hell breaking loose, literally all hell is gonna be breaking loose. There are gonna be people rising up against one another, people rising up against officials, death, famine on a mass scale, people robbing, ravishing, other people, wives, children, people, not having any respect for, no respect for anyone, right? So they're gonna be there's a lot of tribulations to just go back to the word similar word, which means affliction and oppression, right? And we know in that time, right, the true believers, right, the one that hold fast to the gospel, right, is going to go through the most tribulations, right? We're going to go through the most afflictions, right, because they're going to be a trying over our faith. Scripture speaks about that. When Scripture speaks about that. When we are brought up to the officials, don't worry about what we should say, and the Spirit will speak for us, right? So they're gonna be, again, like we mentioned, martyrs. They're gonna be brothers being martyrs. They're gonna be deliverance as well. Starting with the 144,000, and the great multitudes are all gonna be delivered during this tribulation, right? When the MOTB is being implemented. All right, and when the Darrow War is breaking out, which I'm going to get into right now. In Revelation chapter 12, verse 7, so the title is The Angel and Michael. And it reads, and there was war in heaven. What war? What is referring to? This is referring to the third woe, right? The third woe, not a literary war in, where the angels, in that part of heaven, right? This is talking about on earth, war on earth, right? The third woe, right? World War III. Michael and his angels, right, fought against the dragon. Who's that dragon? Spiritual demon Satan, right? And the dragon fought and his angels, right? Which the angels are going back to the military, right? The other nations' armies, right? The nation's armies is going to be fighting against, that's going to be fighting against, the angels and Michael, right? So that's going back to the other nations' armies. 8 verse, and prevail not, right? So they lost. So the dragon and his angels lost, right? The other nations' army, they lost. Neither was their place found no more in heaven, right? So I mean, they didn't have any rulership. They got kicked out of power, right? They didn't have any rulership no more on the earth. Okay, and the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil, the deceiver, right? The Esau Edom, and the spiritual demon Satan, right, which deceives the whole world, and he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation to who? The 144,000, the elect, the great multitude, and strength in the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed, which is that word Christ. You just go back to the word anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accuse them before our power day and night. and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, right? So those one that had, had ultimately, stayed fast in this truth, that ultimately endured to the end, right? And they love not their lives unto the death, right? So these are, the elect, right? That ultimately became martyrs. Ultimately, that that like I said, like they hold fast to their testimony, they hold fast to their faith. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe, which means destruction, to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil, so going back to Esau Edom, the higher elites is come down to you, having great wrath, right? Great wrath, which goes back to anger, right? Because he knows that he has a very short time. So how is this devil is going to come down having great wrath through what? Through his MOTB, through him cutting off, the different food supplies, right? Cutting off, him causing trouble, on the earth, right? Him persecuting the hopeful elect, right? The one that is out there, proclaiming the gospel, ushering the kingdom of heaven, right? Telling our people to repent, right? Okay, so I'm gonna jump to Revelations 18:2. Revelation 18:2, and it reads, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, which is talking about America, because America is likely, Babylon, which means the word Babylon means confusion, right? Babylon, confusion, right? So America is coming in the spirit of Babylon, right? Because when you look at America, there's a lot of, you know, it's confusion, right? One minute they say that that they are a Christian nation, right? But they they are not living according to the Bible, right? They're not. America does not. Their laws and their legislation they pass are not according to the Bible, right? Not according to Yahawah laws and commandments, right? You know, for example, the happy community, right? They constantly promote the happy community, but in the scriptures it said that homosexuality and so on is an abomination unto the Lord. Roughly paraphrasing. So, as allegorically of Rome as the most corrupt seat of idolatry and the enemy of Christianity, right? Because America does, worship the different, America is an idolatry country as well. They worship the different gods. They have the different nations in their land. America is just a, boarding pot, right? And America is also coming in the spirit of the ancient Rome as well. So America will be considered the modern day Babylon and the modern day Rome. Babylon, saying Babylon the Great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, in the cage of every unclean, hateful bird, right? Because America, the dollar also known as the dollar Babylon, it doesn't do nothing but promote wickedness, right? It promote wickedness on a high scale. So I'm going to jump down to the 19th verse. And so and they cast dust on their heads and cry weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, the great city wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea by reason of her coastliness, for in 1 hour is she made desolate, right? Because in 1 hour, it only gonna take Yabashasha 1 hour to destroy America, to completely wipe America off the face of the planet, right? So all the other nations, they're gonna be weeping for Babylon because they're gonna see because the great deliverance, the second S is main is going to happen in America, right? But we know they're gonna be because there's elect, they're scattered abroad in the different countries, right? So we know that some of the elect is going to be saved from the different countries. That will you also get a great multitude, right? From the different other countries, right? So the different countries, that are not going to be, that might, because the way the other nations are going to see America being destroyed by the news channel, that each and every country, have some sort of news outlet, right? So when they see America getting destroyed, right, they're going to be, broadcasting, right, national TV, and they're gonna be weeping for America, right? Because they're gonna see that it's not its city, right? The country that used to be about life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness is gone, right? Is made just it's just gone, right? It's just destroyed, right? So I'm gonna get Second Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. And the title is Difficult Times Will Come, right? Which goes back to tribulations, right? 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This know also that in the last days, right? In the last days, we're living in the last days right now. Perilous times shall come, right? Perilous times. Perilous goes back to, which means difficult, right? So difficult times will come. Okay? Difficult times. Difficult, i.e., dangerous, um, furious, fierce. So dangerous times are going to come, right? For man should be lovers of their own selves, right? Man would be lovers of their own selves. There's a lot of definitely speaking to two-thirds of our people. They're so concerned with their own. They're concerned with getting butt jobs. Getting a new body, right? You know, getting their body done, right? They're not concerned with paying attention or heeding to the times, right? They're more concerned with doing things according to their flesh, right? According to their carnal desires. Covetous and covetous, boasters, proud. There's a lot of proud. Our people are very proud. Blasphemers, right? Disobedient to parents, which you go back to their spiritual parents, right? The prophets, the teachers, right? Of the 100% truth. Unthankful, unholy, right? Because there's, America, especially America, promotes unholy. There's a lot of wickedness. A lot of holier than thou, right? People out here, they're unholy, especially wacky tacky Christians. Without natural affection, truth breakers, right? False accusers, incontinent, right? Look at that word, incontinent. Without self-control, intemperate, powerless without self-control, right? But there are going to be a lot of people out here, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heedy, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of the Most High, right? Because our people are, you know, they are, they love themselves, right? They love the things of this world, The scripture speaks about, rough paraphrasing, that the cares of this world is enmity with the Most High, right? Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away, right? So the 10th verse, but thou hast fully known me, know my doctrine, manner of life, purpose, faith, long suffering, charity, and patience. Who's it speaking about? I'm going to continue reading. Persecution, afflictions, right? Which came unto me at Antioch, at Iconium, at Lystria. What persecution I endured, but out of them all the Lord delivered me. Yeah, and all that will live godly in Hamashiach, Yahushua shall suffer persecution, right? So we know that if our forefather, went through this, if our forefather kept the doctrine right, if our forefather, had faith, and our forefather dared, adhered to which I'm going back to the prophets of old, they had patience, they had long suffering, if they, our Lord Yahweh Mashiach, if he endured persecution, affliction, we, also, the elect will also go through that, right? Going back to that tribulation, that affliction, the elect, will endure that same persecution, right? Afflictions, right? It don't have to necessarily be physical, it can be a mental affliction, it can be financial, it can be all the different things, right? This is why I said in the 12th verse, yeah, and all that will live godly, right? The elect, the elect will be trying to live godly, in these latter days, right? Um, and Hamashiach Yahushua, which goes back to our anointed, um, shall suffer persecution, right? Because when we, when our family members, when they see us, you know, trying to be godly, trying to live by the book, right? Trying to, not trying to be over righteous or what, but just trying to, get salvation, trying to endure to the end, they going to, because their mind is so focused on being a Gentile, right? They're in a Gentile state of mind, they're so focused on, you know, being pleasing to this flesh, right? Our people are, they're carnal minded, right? They don't see things spiritually, right? They see things carnal, right? And that's how Yahweh made our people, right? But the hopeful elect, they will suffer this persecution, right? Because that's what, our Lord, Yahweh went through. But evil man and seducer shall wax worse and worse, right? Deceiving and being deceived. And we see that a lot. There's a lot of doctrines, different doctrine coming out, right? You know, and people are being deceived by their different doctrines, right? But continue thou in the thing which thou hast learned and hast been assured of, knowing of whom thou hast learned them, and that from a child thou hast known the holy scriptures, which are able to make thee wise unto salvation, right? Because these words, right, this truth is what gonna keep us, grounded, right? Keep us grounded, keep our faith grounded, right? Keep us enduring to the end, right? You know, because when we have this truth, we're gonna be moving according to the spirit, not according to our flesh, like the other, like the 2/3 of our people. Our 2/3 of our people gonna be moving according to their flesh. They're gonna be think about getting weapons and trying to think about getting weapons and the different carnal material, to fight and to defend themselves, right? So wise unto salvation through faith, through faith, which is in Hamashiach Yahushua. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Matthew's 24. It's like Matthew 24. Okay, it reads Matthew chapter 24, verse 21. For then shall be great tribulation, right? Great tribulation. It goes to the word tribulation means metaphor for oppression, affliction, distress, right? Great distress, great affliction, great oppression, such as was not since the beginning of the earth world to this time, no, nor ever shall be, right? So this is gonna be, something that is not compared to to Sodom and Gomorrah, to ancient Egypt, to none of these, things our people went through, back in the ancient world, right? You know, to the Noah, there's gonna be something, you know, terrible, you know, and except those days shall be shortened, right? There should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, so for the elect's sake, the 144,000, those days shall be shortened, right? So we know that the days, when the MOTB, when when scripture speaks about when when the devil, shall fill his belly, right? Then yeah, then great, distress gonna come upon him, right? And that's going back, which is going back into what the when he think he's like about to fully implement his new world order, right? His NWO, when he think he's about to have everyone chip, right? Michael C. Hip, right? Then that when Yahawah BAHASHAM is going to bring that great calamity upon him, going to bring the cherubs, right? You know, so that's the time. That's that's when those how those days, because if he get everyone Michael C. Hip, right, they're gonna be no flesh gonna be saved, right? Everyone gonna be walking around as AI, everyone gonna be dead, right? So we know that we know that he's not gonna be able to Michael see help everyone, right? We know that everyone's not gonna die from famine or from pestilence. We know so because there's an elect, right? There's a 144,000. There's a great multitude. Jeremiah 30. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7 reads, Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the times of Jacob's trouble, but he should be saved out of it, right? So, this Jacob trouble, is referring to what? When our people, is being slaughtered, right? Because we know this devil, Wicked E, he gonna come down with great calamity upon our people, right? These 12 trials, where he gonna come down with great wrath, meaning he gonna get his people too, but mainly our people, right? You know, he gonna have the Most High anger in him to come down with great wrath, right? This is why I said the times of Jacob trouble, because all of everyone is gonna go through this, right? Everyone, especially in America, is gonna go through this time, right? But he shall be saved out of it, right? So, but you're going back to the elect, right? The elect of the 12 tribes of Israel will be saved out of it, right? Be delivered, right? Which goes back to the second Exodus. Um, 8th verse. For it shall come to pass in that day, says the Lord Yahawah of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, right? So, we're not going to be under the heathen, right? The heathen won't be ruling over us, right? You know, and they're going to come when the kingdom of heaven get established. on the earth, right? And our people will be ruling in their righteous, in their new body, right? In their new spiritually body, where the commandments are in our inward parts. But they shall serve the Lord Yahweh their power and David their king when I will raise up unto them, right? So therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, says the Lord Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity, right? And Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none should make him afraid. Right. So this one gonna be, when your Lord Yahweh he gonna come, he gonna deliver the elect. He gonna be deliver a mass majority of our people. Right. You have a great multitude. Right. That will be a part of the elect. Then you have the elect. You know that the prophets, right, mainly teachers, and all these different people, that push this word, right, that you know help this word go out, right, that will be saved, from their captivity, right, in the different countries, mainly mainly in America, right, and we're gonna be, that when the kingdom, and after that, the kingdom of heaven will be established, after America is wiped out, completely wipe off the planet Earth, right? You know, um, the kingdom of heaven, right, will be established upon the earth, right? And that when Jacob gonna be ruling, the 12 tribes of Israel gonna be ruling, right? They're gonna be at rest, right? They're gonna be no more tears, no more pain, no more sorrow, no more no death, right? We're gonna be at rest, right? We're gonna be ruling in righteousness. We're gonna be having the other nations under us, right? We're gonna have the inheritance of the nation's land, right? And their people, right? That's why none should make them afraid, right? Because they're not gonna be no more nations trying to attack us, right? Trying to rise up against us, right? Jeremiah chapter 23, verse 6. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name, whereby he shall be called the Lord our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, it says the Lord Yahweh, that they shall no more say, the Lord Yahweh lives, he which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, right? Which which now in this time will be the America, right? He will save us, Yahweh Shah, he will save us, by his chariots, the elect out of the land, which is why we call it the second Exodus, because the first Exodus took place in the ancient Egypt, right? And now the second Exodus, the second, mass evacuation, right? Mass deliverance was going to take place in America, right? Which come in the spirit of the ancient Egypt, right? That's why America is known, that city, the scripture speaks about that America, or Babylon, is known as spiritual Sodom and Gomorrah, right? You know, America is coming in the spirit of Egypt, right? Spiritual Sodom, it's like a spiritual Sodom in Egypt, which brought the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, right? Which that north country is referring to America. And from all countries, whither I have driven them, they should dwell in their own land, right? So through, when the elect and when the elect is delivered, right, out of America, our people would be dwelling in their own land, which is Israel, right, in our own land, ruling, right, being kings, being priests, right, being having, wives, having heathen as our, servants, handmaids, And that's what we look for. Luke chapter 1, verse 70. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began, right? That we shall be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. Right, so who is going to be saved? The elect, right? The elect will be saved. It's like the elect will be saved. The great multitude will be saved from the hands of our enemies. You know, and for all the nations that hate us, right? All the different nations, they hate the children of Israel, right? Especially the Amalekites. Esau, Edom. He despised the children of Israel, right? You know, so our people, so Yahweh he gonna save our people. Deliver our people from this tribulation, the great tribulation that is gonna come, right? Mainly the elect, the 144,000, the great multitude will be delivered from this tribulation. While this tribulation is happening, right? While you know where is third world is breaking out, right? These different plagues is upon the whole earth. Luke chapter 21, verse 25. And there should be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars, and upon the earth the distress of nations, right? With perplexity, right? Perplexity. Look at that word, perplexity. Right, the state of one who's perplexed, perplexity. Let's see if I can get a better definition. Right, the inability, um, to deal with or understand something complicated or uncountable, right? Confusion, right? So they're gonna be great confusion, right? Because they're gonna be the different, prophecies gonna be springing out of the book, prophecies are gonna be springing out of the book, right? They're gonna be a great trouble upon the whole earth. This is why Scripture speaks about, they're charmers, they're magicians, they're witches won't be able to save them, right? Because they're not gonna know why this place is going through, the stuff is going through, right? They're gonna know why, you know, all hell is breaking loose, right? So there's gonna be a great confusion upon these different nations, right? The sea and the waves roaring. Man's heart failing them from fear, right? Because people are gonna be having heart attacks, right? Because they're gonna be, apparitions appearing. They're gonna be chariots flying. They're gonna be, the different, you know, military age men, coming to destroy them, right? So there's gonna be a lot of people, know, dying, right? And for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, right? For the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud. That cloud was referring to chariots, the chariot, the so-called UFOs, with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draws not, right? So when we see these signs, when we see, the different signs happening, when we see the MLTBs getting implemented, when we see the famine of the word, famine of bread, when we see these different signs happening, we're supposed to, make, that's supposed to increase our faith, you know, that's supposed to, help us endure to the end, right? You know, because we know that our Lord is coming back with chariots, right? With his angels. Revelation 11:11. Revelation chapter 11, verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying to them, "Come up hither." Right? So this is going back to the left. And they ascended up to heaven in cloud, and heaven in cloud, right? Which go back to the going back to the chariots, and their enemies beheld them, right? Because what these different people who gonna be trying to martyr the elect are gonna be trying to you know they gonna they gonna be just go back to the other nation, right? The military, right? They're gonna be trying to what they're gonna be looking, right? They're gonna see the salvation, right, of the elect. They're gonna see people being literally lifted up from the earth to the skies, right? Taken into chariots to be delivered, right? To be saved, out of the hell that's coming to them, right? Out of this tribulation, right? So Wisdom Solomon chapter 5 verse 2. When they see it, they should be troubled with terrible fear, and should be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation of who? The elect, the great multitude. Because so far beyond all they look for, because these people, they they're not gonna think a chariot, this is why they're not afraid. This is why they're not, you know, these UFOs. This is why they're calling it UFOs, unidentified flying objects, because they don't know, especially the higher elites know, but they're not reporting on it. They know that UFOs is coming back. I'm talking about to the mass majority of the people. The masses don't know that the so-called UFOs are really the chariots of the Lord YAHAWASHI coming back to save his people. That he's sending these chariots to search out the land, right, to spy on the land, but really the chariots are coming back to save the elect, right. This is why they're going to be amazed at the strength of the elect salvation, because they're not going to think that these UFO, they don't know that the UFOs, UAPs, also know the unidentified aerial phenomenon, is not going to come back to deliver the elect. Um, so this is why I said they're so far beyond all that they look for. Okay, Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindred and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. Right. So this great multitude is who? The elect that is in the different nations, right? The elect that's scattered among the different nations. We have elect in China, elect in Japan, the elect in there's some elect in great multitude in Africa, Europe, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, and Italy, Mexico, Brazil. They're gonna be that's a great multitude of people. That will be saved, be delivered. And some of them might not look like um, Israelites, right? But they, their spirits are, they all about their spirits, right? And Yahweh Shai, at the end of the day, he can deliver whoever he wants, So, so this again lesson title is the second Exodus, also known as a mass deliverance and great tribulation all at once, right? Because they're gonna be a great tribulation. They're gonna be 2/3 of our people getting, dying on a mass scale. Family of the word, MOTB implements, World War III, the third woe, and a mass deliverance of the elect and great multitude all at once. Sorry, while this places getting destroyed, right, by the chariots, by the ICBMs, right? So I'm going to close out here. Now I'll give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahawah, Shabbat, 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 Until next time, we'll say Shalom.